Traffic lights. We all know how significant they are in managing traffic flow and in preventing accidents at intersections, right? So how inconvenient it is when traffic lights don't work properly and how dangerous it can be as well. We're going to take a look at this report. When we come back, we'll discuss this issue of non-functioning traffic lights and the chaos that it can cause on our roads. Take a look at this.
Traffic lights play an important part in road safety. Thus, any defect is a worry. The Boundary Road, a busy highway which links commuters from East Legon to the Medina and Adenta environs, has in recent times witnessed avoidable road carnage. Pedestrians and children who ply the boundary stretch daily told Citi News the faulty light has made crossing the road risky.
I need to watch the road almost 3 times or 4 times before crossing the road, or else a car can knock me anytime, either from the left or from the right.
Why is that?
Why that? Because the traffic light is not working. So we need the government to work on us.
The traffic light, how long has it not been working?
Almost 1 year this. Almost getting to 1 year. It's not working. All the two is not working.
So when you are crossing the road, you are very scared?
Yes, when we are crossing, sometimes if a child is crossing the road, you need to hold the child's hand before crossing the road. Or else the child cannot cross the road by himself. Or if the child crosses the road by himself, maybe a car will just knock the child and that's it. Sometimes accidents do happen more times over here. So that's why. My final word to government is they should take care of the traffic lights for us. That's all.
I live around behind the restaurant over there.
Have you been using this road quite often?
Yes, please.
And have you witnessed accidents on the streets?
Yes. Sometimes the schools too at estates, so we have to cross the road. But how the road is too scary because unless maybe you see maybe one of an elderly person cross the say, "Daddy, please, can you help me to cross this road?" Because the traffic light is not good at all.
There have been few of misunderstanding that drivers, each and everyone forcing their way to pass through. At times you see a car coming from afar horning to let the others give way to him or her, but others too are trying to force their way in or out to pass through, and it has become some way somehow challenging. Compare us to be the pedestrians crossing, we have to make sure the cars are always far afar before we can even have a cross to the other side of the road. So if this traffic light will be done once and for us, so that we crossing will find it very easy, as well as the cars through going and coming also will have a free flow of movement. That would be more okay for us. But right now the situation is at stake. It's on and off. Sometimes you see the officers directing the traffic. At times too they are not around, so it has become one way, and they are finding it some way somehow difficult to cope with it.
Benjamin Kwating, headmaster of Christian Missionary Bilingual, located on the stretch, narrates the ordeal of students.
I think big people like the government officials, they use the same route. Not even that, the school children crossing from our school. There's a cluster of school here behind us. That is Medina Estate 3. People from Presec and all the other schools here, they all use the same route. So we have to employ the shoemaker out there. We pay him every Friday something small so that he help our children and all the other schools, their children here. So it's a very big problem. There was a time that one of our peoples were knocked down here. She was knocked down by a car. School had closed. They were trying to cross the road and it happened. So we really beg the government and the assembly, Medina Lankwanta 9. This is a trunk road leading to American House, East Legon. It's very busy. In morning, the traffic is not easy. This one is also sport. That traffic down there, it's also sport. So those from Bojo down, they come on top speed. If I'm not exaggerate, I think we have experienced close to 10 different motor accidents here.
This is a driver who had an accident last week because of the defect.
Actually, what's happening is that when it's off, they can't fix it like a month, or even sometimes they can't fix it today, the next day it will go off. So that's what happened more than 5-6 years, as you said. So they can come today and fix it, but the next day or one more time, then it go off. So conscious to drive, because you see there is a major road. From the left is going to America House. The right like this is going to Medina and Asaraboche. And how it is, as you see, you yourself you can see, if you are driving, especially when you want to join the main road, you are not careful, either you hit a car or a car will hit you. I quite remember before my accident will happen, there was a lady using her car going like this to America House, and a car was coming down like this. The same thing happened as my own happened. And the lady was in the car with her 2 children. They have to rush them to Alpha Hospital, the Pentecost Hospital.
Is that the only accident you've witnessed, or how many accidents have you witnessed? Uncountable. Even I quite remember about 3 months ago, some old lady was crossing the road, and a motor hit her. The next day, she passed away. And as I said, a lot of accidents have occurred here. I could say one of the first year was Golf Station. One of the workers over here was going to buy food. When he was returning back, a car knocked him. By the grace of God, that he survived. Here, for me to join the main road, a car was coming from America House. So he stopped for me to cross, like the way these ones were stopping. So when he stopped for me to cross, I was crossing, not to another car was coming inside the inner lane. Was it fast?
He was driving faster. He applied brake, like from here to the junction, he couldn't stop.
So he was coming from this road?
No, he was coming from America House, and I was joining the main road. So for my intelligence and my fastness, that saved me for him to go and hit this side. Otherwise, he could have hit my side of the door.
In an interview with Citi News, the head of inspection and compliance at the National Road and Safety Authority, Kwame Kodua Etiahene, stated all 40 traffic lights in the city have been stipulated in a report and sent to the Department of Urban Roads for urgent attention.
Issue of traffic lights is fairly and squarely within the remit of the Department of Urban Roads. When we receive complaints from the public, what we do is to inform them, which we have done. The Department of Urban Roads is the agency of state that has frontline responsibility for making sure that the traffic lights stay up. Those that are faulty ought to be repaired. If they have to be repaired, they bear the responsibility for that. So if the nature of the road and traffic requires that traffic signals or lights ought to be deployed based on our steady accident investigation and related issues, that we could advise for the fixture or safety device or facility to be deployed. But once it is there and it is not working, it is out of my scope. I mean, there is a body, a public institution for that matter, that has ultimate responsibility. I will encourage they must address all questions about traffic lights, because they ought to ensure that they are fixed if they are dysfunctional. Out of good intention, I cannot go and fix it. It doesn't belong to me. Assuming the authority has the know-how, or I'll be breaching another institution's space of action. It doesn't rest with us to do that. Fortunately, there is an agency. They are known. They have officers. Their offices are known. I would encourage that we try to talk to them so they can respond to these queries. What we have done, as I explained, is that just as the public bring these concerns to us, we have a call center. We have an inspectorate division. Sometimes we go out to take on this data and try to get.
That was a report regarding the situation in some parts of Accra with traffic lights that are non-functioning and the chaos and havoc that they can cause and the danger to pedestrians and drivers alike. Now, I'm sure many of us can point to areas where we know of intersections where the traffic lights don't work. And off the top of my head, I can name a few, Kweku. I mean, if you're even on the N4 stretch, Shashi, there's a problem. Oponglo, there's a problem. UPSA Road, that there's a problem. It's like almost every intersection you get to, it's either one or all of the traffic lights don't work. And with the ones where some work and some don't, it gets so confusing because you've got one set of cars that isn't really sure when it's their turn to move. You've got people beeping their horns telling you to move, but you're not sure, or are you supposed to move? And you wonder, why has it taken so long for this to be rectified? I know sometimes they put police officers or traffic MTTD officers at these intersections to help direct traffic, but it isn't all the time. And is that really a lasting solution?
No, it's not even a solution. We should stop doing that. Do you understand? It's like children at play. We should grow up. That's what we should do as a nation. We should grow up. Listen.
It's a traffic light.
Traffic lights. You see, in the largest scheme of things, right? Fixing traffic lights is one of the low,
basic
cheap,
things.
basic things that you can do. I want to find out which organization is responsible to make sure that these traffic lights are fixed, maintained, and who is heading that institution and is watching and supervising the chaos that we are seeing in our city. Listen, Kogui, a few months ago, just off the Hila Liman highway, that's the Kanda highway, when you get to the Alisa Hotel Junction, Atlantis Radio, Sunny FM Junction, right?
Yep, that's another one.
That traffic light, I would hesitate to hazard a guess, but if I should, I would say probably in excess of a year, those traffic lights have not functioned properly for more than a year. But guess what? The person in charge of traffic lights collects his salary every month. Every month. And the government is supervising the payment from Ministry of Finance to this person and people who are supervising our traffic lights, and they are not doing a good job of it, but they are paying them out every month. They pay them salary. I want to understand what the issue is, because if we are our systems are not merit based. If people were to be remunerated based on job done at the end of every month, we'll probably have a better functioning system than we currently do. But what we've done is that it's like whether you do the work or you don't do the work, or you will collect your salary, and they are collecting good salaries too. And some of them to be agitating for a pay increase.
Is it under the assemblies? Is it who, we need to figure out,
We will find out this morning.
Yeah.
We will call somebody. We will by all means find out, because it's,
and
for
to
me,
find out what prevents them from fixing them. We know so if you've got solar traffic lights, for instance, which rely on the sun to be powered.
Which we have plenty of.
Is it that the equipment is faulty or needs to be replaced, and so it's not working?
I don't have a problem with the myriad of challenges that any institution would face in solving these challenges that we have in our system, right? But we were here in this country, and we've seen so many other institutions where you find that the leadership of the institution has decided to take the bull by the horns and sort out the problems that were there, right? I don't know what it is with our traffic system.
Yeah.
And honestly, IGP, I don't know why you're detailing your men to, of course, yours is civil
safety and
management of the population and everything else, and making sure that people are safe and all that. I understand that. But is that the best use, right, of our police to stand at traffic lights for 6 hours at a stretch? And I don't get it. Look, when I saw the police visibility people with their motorbikes and everything else, for me, it was a breath of fresh air. Why? Because when you see the police out there poorly clad, looking haggard,
it doesn't inspire confidence.
It does not inspire any confidence.
Yeah.
But these days, you see the police out there at the traffic lights, smartly dressed,
very smart,
looking really good with their bikes.
Their bikes, yeah.
And,
they look like they're
for
about
me,
the business.
it's about we're here for business.
Yeah.
And guess what? Anytime you see those policemen out there with their bikes, the Okadas, whether they like it or not, they all stop at the traffic light. Nobody attempts to jump. It's beautiful.
True.
So for me, that's more of the function of the police, right?
Maintaining law and order.
Thank you. And civil discipline, right? But the traffic lights have to work.
Yeah.
Listen, the one in front of the president's house, that's one of the culprits. Ring Road Central, that one. Yeah, it's one of the culprits. It's every day, off and on, off and on. I don't know who. There's like the people come and turn it on, and somebody will come and turn it off. It never seems to work. You will not find those traffic lights working consistently well for more than 48 hours. I do not understand for the life of me why on earth.
Yeah.
And you see, to some extent, you ask yourself, if in front of the president's house it won't work, then where else will it work? Right? I do not buy, and I will not buy any of the stories about stolen batteries, faulty equipment. Faulty equipment, yeah, everybody has faulty. I get faulty equipment at home. I get them fixed. Fix it. Why are we there after a year? There once at Atlantis Radio, Sunny FM Junction. Why are they still non-functional after a year or more? They're just there. And guess what? Beyond this problem of the lights for the vehicles themselves not working, the majority, and I will again go out on a limb here and hazard a guess, 90 to 95% of the pedestrian traffic lights at all these traffic lights do not work. The pedestrian ones.
So dangerous.
Very dangerous. It's almost like in our traffic system, we say it by mouth and we have it on paper that pedestrians are part of the traffic system. But in practicality, we really don't care. We don't give a hoot. We don't care.
We heard the
it's
headmaster
obvious.
of the school talking about this, about how there are there's clusters of schools in that area where the schools are concerned about the children.
Yeah.
Because, of course, they're crossing the road. They've had to employ a shoemaker who's in the area to get him to assist the children in crossing the road just so they won't get hit by cars. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The school has to resort to that. And
Meanwhile, there are traffic lights that are supposed to regulate and be regulated. Look, there was a time in this country, I remember, there were traffic lights that when you, the pedestrians, get to the traffic lights, you press it, a button, and there's a time factor because you can't have people just pressing at any point in time. So you press it, it gives you about 60 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever. It will respond. The cars will stop and yours will go green and you can cross safely. What happened to those things? what happened to those things? I don't understand.
Okay. Well, let's speak to Kwame Tuahene. Maybe he can give us some insight into this from the road safety perspective. Good morning, Kwame.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Daily. Okay, so one question that we're all quite curious about: who is responsible for maintaining traffic lights?
Thank you very much. I think that responsibility is on the laps of the Department of Urban Roads.
Aha. Oh dear, it looks like we've lost him. Well,
Did he say Department
of
of
Urban
Urban
Roads?
Roads?
Yes,
They
he gave
are
us that
responsible?
response before we lost him. Department of Urban Roads.
Okay,
so we've got that so far.
I want to know who's the head of Department of Urban Roads, because this morning, me, I'm guns blazing. I'm not, listen, if I come to work and I don't deliver on my duties, I'm cited at work for dereliction of duty. How do you get away from not doing your job and still collect a salary every month? I don't understand that.
Maybe there's some challenge that we're not aware of. In which case, maybe he should let us know.
It's a possibility,
Yes.
right? But
let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
But you see, here's the thing, Koki, here's the thing. If for whatever reason you are unable to do your work,
Yes.
you're supposed to bring the issues
Yes, to
to
the
your
floor.
stakeholders. Here, when I say stakeholders, what I mean is this. I think that it's important for us as citizenry, because it's our taxpayers' money that is used to pay all of these people, right? So as it is true that you have bosses that you report to within your line of responsibility, but it's also the taxpayers' money that you're collecting your nice salaries every month. So even though you don't need to, you don't need to report to us that you have XY challenges, we need to know that there are these issues that are going on there. And this is what is I don't know why. When I used to stay in Mile 7, I come out of the neighborhood at the Kantanka Showroom Junction.
Okay.
On the Mile 7, it's not Mile 7, the Achimota Road.
Okay.
So this is if you're driving towards New Plan, right? This is the. Do you remember where the old Melcom was? Remember what?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the junction before the old Melcom.
Okay.
If you're facing Mile 7 direction, it's on your left. So it's across the street.
Okay.
Right. The old Melcom is at the major intersection, but the junction before, that's where I come out at, right? Okay. Now, so Mr. Tuahene has joined us back on the line again. Mr. Tuahene, welcome back.
Thanks, bro.
All right. So you were talking earlier on, you were speaking about those who are responsible for maintaining our traffic lights. Can you go over what you said again?
Yeah, so I was trying to explain that the public agency with the primary responsibility to ensure that the traffic lights function in ways that promote safety is the Department of Urban Roads.
So do we hold them accountable for, let's say, for example, the traffic lights at Nima Police Station have been malfunctioning for, as far as I can tell, in excess of a year? Do we hold Department of Urban Roads accountable?
Yes, but I think that responsibility should be shared. I'll tell you what we have done. At the beginning of the year, we conducted a situational report. Across country, we counted about 94 dysfunctional traffic lights.
94 across the country or across the city?
No, across the country. That's what we found as of June 21st, 2022.
Okay.
Okay.
And we brought that to the attention of the frontline agency. In fact, they got back that out of the 94, at the time of getting back, some 45 or so were functional, and there were others that required some repairs, which had been given out on contract. And others who had been stolen and needed our collective support, the public, in order to sensitize the public to be look out for such behavior. But ultimately, I think that this conversation is important, but I would respectfully encourage that we bring the Department of Urban Roads into the conversation.
Okay, so
even if I have good intention, I'm unable to do it. It's not our job, so to say.
Yeah.
And these are lights that are owned and maintained by them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I appreciate it. If we look at the city, I mean, oftentimes when we have discussions about accidents, there's always the expectation to look towards the incidents occurring on a major highway. They happen once in a while. But when you query the data, a lot is happening within urbanized environment. And kids crossing, adults having to be knocked down because there's always vehicular pedestrian conflict. The lights don't work. You are not too sure whether it's time for you to cross or it's time for you to stop.
Right.
It turns out to be a little bit chaotic in some intersection. And that's where we expect that the urban roads will do the needful and try to assist.
Yeah.
What we have done is to also, whilst wait on them, is to try to collaborate with some of the municipalities so that at peak hours in the morning and after when the lights are down, try to encourage them to deploy traffic wardens to assist traffic management. But ultimately, if we really want to see some improvement in the traffic light situation, the Department of Urban Roads must be having some conversation with the public.
So let me ask you, I mean, in terms of proper protocol and the way things should be done in terms of how systems should work, why do you think it is that for the longest time, at least for us as citizens, we've never heard from the Department of Urban Roads? I mean, the traffic lights situation has been like this for years. It's not as if it's the last year or the last couple of years that it's been like this. If I think back to the one of the actually on the Hilaliman Highway at the Atlantis Radio Sunny FM junction. That one has been malfunctioning in excess of a year, maybe more than this. And yet the Department of Urban Roads seems to be very, very silent and absent, really, not even just silent, also absent.
Yeah, so, maybe they may have genuine reasons why they are unable to deal with it. But unfortunately, we don't hear more of them. Maybe we don't get to invite them as much to speak to these issues. Maybe a lot more people are unaware that responsibility sits with them. Maybe they have chosen not to engage as frequently as possible. But as part of our efforts going forward these days, we try not to show that the responsibility for other agencies. And when I spoke with my friends, I said that what is a good discussion, but I would respectfully encourage that we try to draw the Department of Urban Roads into this conversation.
Okay,
so
and that it's understandable that you wouldn't want to shoulder that burden, but to the best of your knowledge, I mean, as the authority that is in charge of road safety, are you privy to any kind of challenges that Urban Roads is facing in maintaining these traffic lights, or have you followed up to find out why they're not able to maintain them? We just want to get a sense of your role as the authority that's supposed to protect us on the roads, if you've done much to follow up on why these things aren't getting fixed, or if you're privy to any challenges that they might be facing.
Yeah, so the challenges we, to the best of our knowledge, a communication that got to us somewhere in August was that a number of these traffic lights had been given out on contract, or the department was taking steps to award a contract for them to be fixed. That's the information I have, and I haven't yet received any updates on progress of work on these contractual issues or ongoing discussion to fix them.
Forgive me for asking this, but it almost seems as though there's a lack of urgency in solving the problem. Because aside the fact that Urban Roads says, well, okay, we've given it out on contract, is a well-functioning traffic light not a priority for road safety? Is it not something where there should be a bit more a sense of urgency in resolving it? It just seems as though, okay, we did an audit in June, 94 are not working. We asked Urban Roads what's happening. They said they've given out a contract. But at the end of the day, it's December and accidents are still happening because traffic lights are not working. So again, maybe I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot here, but it just seems as though maybe there should be a bit more of a prioritization when it comes to fixing this than there seems to be. We are sitting here on air. Maybe it's easy for us to criticize, but as road users, I think we all expect that our traffic lights should work, pedestrians and drivers alike.
I appreciate that, but let me say this: within the public environment, the responsibility is shared.
In this case, what do you mean when you say shared? In this case, what do you mean?
So when I say shared, you have a number of duty bearers along the chain.
Okay.
If the case is that, there is no agency that has primary responsibility, then the conversation is different. There's an agency that has the primary mandate. There's a whole functional institution across the country, potentially have a budget, a system in place. And so if they will not work in ways that ought to work, I would not imagine that they should be speaking to all of us. So in that sense, I appreciate the effort to get to us. I mean, in order of priority, I would imagine the authority may be second layer or third layer. There's a department of urban, they have a director, they have an office in a car. I think that with the greatest of respect, within our mandate, yes, we carry out occasional audit through our inspectors, and we act by bringing the attention of the primary or the agency with the primary responsibility. So here this morning, I've been trying to hazard a guess to explain why these are not working, when indeed the institution may be in a position to speak for itself.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll definitely
encourage you to talk to them.
We'll definitely speak with them as soon as we can raise them on the line. But just whilst we have you here, National Road Safety Authority, just speak to us about your role in, let's say, when you have signalized intersections, right? Is it not part of proper engineering of signalized intersections that there should be speed calming, mechanisms put in place as you approach each intersection, so that in the event where we have a failure of the traffic lights, there's already a speed calming, like a ramp or something approaching the traffic lights so that people do not cross lights at speed. I'm talking about this in sense of the general road safety, because a lot of the times, the report we had, for example, it was mainly focused in Medina. There were issues of people being knocked down at intersections simply because the speeds at which the vehicles were moving was way too high at a time when the traffic lights were not working.
Yeah, for starters, every one of us who has been properly trained and licensed to drive.
Yes.
with or without speed post or speed limit, we know or ought to know that there's a certain maximum limit we can do within an urbanized environment. So you know that within the city of Accra, you cannot drive in excess of 50.
Yeah, but most people
when you
do.
drive around schools and hospitals.
No, but Kwame, with all due respect, most people drive above 50. Most people. And the police don't do anything about it in the capital city. Most people drive above 50. The majority of drivers on our roads, if we are being real and genuine this morning, drive above 50 on most roads in the capital.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So,
and nobody does anything about it. And human beings will get away with whatever you allow them to get away with.
Yes, I appreciate that. And that naturally is an enforcement challenge. Well, in our engagement with the police, they are beginning to deploy cameras. Now you have the police aspiring for motorcycles, and there's also police invisible eye with the cameras deployed on some vehicles and motorbikes that pick on these infractions. But in the short term, that's a whole program that is being planned for implementation. The police automation project, where a lot more traffic speed cameras will be deployed at strategic locations to pick up on these infractions. But until we get there, I made a point because enforcement actually starts with us, the users of the road. If we were to be a little more disciplined to drive within the posted speed limit, perhaps this conversation will be delayed. But I agree that the traffic signals are supposed to break our speed and also ensure that there is quite a decent level of interaction between pedestrians and vehicles in the urban environment. And there are places where the engineers will advise on engineering measures, including ramps ahead of the intersection. In other areas, they may advise to the contrary. Regardless, once the traffic lights have been deployed, the expectation is that they work in order to minimize the threats or risk that we normally live with within these urban environments.
All right. Kwame, thank you for speaking to us this morning. We really appreciate your time. Thank you. We've been speaking with Kwame Kodia-Etuahene, who is the head of regulation, inspection, and compliance with the National Road Safety Authority. All right, so you yourselves can, judge for yourselves where it is that we find ourselves and what's going on here. Engineer Abdullahi Mahama sent a message whilst we were on air, and he says that a lot of the companies that have been contracted, actually, they've not been paid.
So didn't we see a headline this morning in the papers about road contractors saying they haven't been paid in 4 years? Yeah. Maybe you're right. Yeah. Maybe they've done some work on it before, haven't gotten paid. Yeah. But then the excuse that, they've been given out on contract, which is why I asked him, has there been any follow-up?
So I think it's a very cheap but cheeky position for government types to take when you, and I'm not even referring to Kwame at all, no. But the position that they take, for example, if we talk to urban roads and they say, it's been given out on contract. You talk to DCE, so it's been given out on contract. It's a cheap and cheeky answer to give when you are actually not delivering. Because we will visit the same conversation a year later when you said it was given out on contract and nothing really has been done. We've had situations where roads have been given out on contract 3 years, nobody showed up. The guy came for the first 2 weeks, started doing gutters and then left. And then nothing has been done after 3 years. Meanwhile, the sing-song of the agencies in charge are saying that, oh, it's been given out on contract. You see, I think we need to start grabbing them where it hurts.
Yeah, it just for something as significant as traffic lights. For everybody to just be kind of sitting back like, well.
Here's the question. What happened to the solar panel traffic lights that were supposed to be the savior of all our problems? Because those ones, there will always be power.
Yes, and it won't be consuming,
it
won't be on the grid.
It will not be on the grid.
So,
you know,
yeah.
what happened to all those?
Is free.
What happened to all of those? You know, Department of Urban Roads.
Yeah, I think we do need to hear from them.
Yeah, you need to come and
respond.
respond.
Hear from them. Yeah.
The entire conversation we've had is sitting on your desk and on your shoulders. We need to hear from you what it is that you are doing about the myriad of traffic lights. He said 94 across the country. I think it's more.
It could be.
Even in Accra, I'm sure if I went around counting, I would find
and maybe since the audit,
so
more might have come into play. But
he said June this year, which is not too long ago.
Yeah, 6 months.
So the way traffic lights are not functioning, and I'm not sure if they included the pedestrian lights.
Yeah.
Because if they included the pedestrian lights, I think the number will be even more. You know, because somehow, like I said, we always look at the vehicles and the light that controls the vehicles and ignore the pedestrians as though they're not part of the traffic system. You know, and this is a country that completely abuses and disregards zebra crossings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, you know, and so really, I think that we need to, urban roads, we need to hear from you.
Yeah, we do. On this one.
And if there's a problem, say it so that we know that there's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, because this business of, you know, going AWOL, we can't hear from you, we haven't heard from you, we will not hear from you. It's like forever and ever, amen. It's like you are just silent quiet in your offices, and it's not acceptable. This is not the time. We need to hear from you.
We do.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, our conversation on Breakfast Daily will continue, and you can send us a message, #Breakfast Daily, or send us a message 055
0585832.
That's it. You see, it's been a while since I've been on
Yeah.
the number. Okay. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.